Hello there, and welcome to the Nelligan Facebook page. Here tonight is a very rare occasion, a celebratory opportunity for us, because tonight we are celebrating not just the amazing staff here at Nelligan O'Brien Payne, but we're also celebrating a brand new office space, work environment, living space for some. But it's a really big day on so many levels, and we're celebrating this. If you're watching this here on this specific page, my name is Colin. I'm from the Ottawa Business Journal, and we're fortunate enough to showcase this amazing law firm that's done so much for the Ottawa community and does so much for businesses and so many individuals. But tonight we want to talk a little bit about something that's very personal to you, and that is, of course, this new office space. So with me, I have Peter Cronin, a partner, and of course Craig O'Brien, a partner here at Nelligan O'Brien Payne. So let's get into this a little bit. Firstly, this camera does not do a just of how amazing this office space really is. We are just in a small little corner here in this phenomenal space. So Peter, maybe I'll start with you. Maybe you can share with us firstly, this has been a long time coming. This is something that you felt it was time to do. Maybe all the stars just lined up perfectly for you. Maybe you can explain to me why you thought it was time for a new space and why and how that came to fruition.
Well, it didn't take quite as long as you were suggesting, but the stars did line up very nicely for us. I mean, we had space in this same building up on the 15th floor, and we were actually 15th and 14th floor. So we were on two separate floors, spread out. We were in offices that were way too big, and they were designed in the 1990s. And the practice of law and the way that we practice law has changed drastically since then. And you really can't change an office while you're working in it. It's like trying to change the tires on a bus going along on the highway. You can't do that. And so we approached the landlord to say, is there other space available in this building that we could refit and completely retool? And it turned out that this was available, and that's where the stars aligned. And so we were able to do that while we still worked upstairs, but completely recreate a space that is relevant to this century and the way that the practice of law is going to be done, not just now, but into the future. So we're much more flexible, much more ergonomic, much more available to, utilize IT in a manner that we weren't able to do, much more collaborative, like this space here. So, and then the great thing about it too is that given the nature of the kind of firm we are and our clients, we thought, so we're now down overlooking the atrium of our building where the LRT is going to be coming in. We're down close to the street instead of up in the clouds, and we feel a lot more comfortable in this kind of an environment. So that's sort of why we did it. And in a long way.
No, that's pretty precise. I mean, it's wonderful because, we always know that the atmosphere and the vibe of walking into an elegant office, you could always feel the passion of people loving what they do. But maybe, Craig, you can kind of speak to this a little bit. It might have been a very quick transition for you, but just that transition maybe now more than ever, it seems like there's just been so much enthusiasm about it. It's done so much for maybe the office morale and staff morale. I mean, people are not just here going, okay, we got, a new nice desk and we can see sunlight coming in and we have a wonderful kitchen area. As I said, this camera does not do it justice. It's amazing. Maybe you can speak to that a little bit, how this has affected office morale and how that's added to the whole just process.
Well, I wasn't a partner when we moved into this building, to the 15th floor. I do believe that our old decor and the way we had the office set up went out of style about 3 months after we moved in, and we've been living in that scenario ever since. In the old space, we had solid walls and solid doors. In winter, that would mean that some of our staff would come to work in the dark, and if the lawyer they were working with had their door closed, that same employee would leave at the end of the day after the sun's gone down, having never seen sunlight. And that doesn't fit with our culture. That doesn't fit with who we are. And one of the big changes that we have in our current office space is that all of the exterior walls, all of the lawyers' walls are all glass. So everyone gets to see the sun, which is should be a basic human right, frankly, especially in a country like Canada. But what I've really seen is, as a change in actual practice, we have always fostered a culture of collaboration at Nelligan's, and finally we have a workspace that supports that. Where it used to take a lot of organizing to set up a meeting room, set up this, set up the other thing, so that you could collaborate. And now we have the space that is just happening organically. And the number of times where one lawyer, clerk, or assistant could be looking into an issue where somebody else has dealt with very similar facts or very similar legal questions and would just know it. The change in space has enabled those conversations to happen, have enabled greater efficiency and greater service to the clients, because nobody wants to recreate the wheel. And clients certainly don't want us to have to recreate the wheel when somebody else has that brain trust. And with our new space, we're already seeing those conversations are happening. They're happening sooner, and they're happening in a more fulsome way because everybody is in a far more collaborative approach. And it's already, we've seen big differences, and for everybody here, there's more smiles, there's more conversation, and there's a lot more collaboration. We're ecstatic with our new space.
Now, Peter, maybe, I mean, it's wonderful as you walk around, as you say, just the fact that you have the glass doors and the collaboration spaces, those communications, not just among staff that is already work together, but now more so with partners that they maybe have not felt as comfortable with in having those conversations. Now they feel, well, it's a glass door, it's open, they're available, they make eye contact, and we can have those conversations. Which is amazing. And I mean, once again, if you look at this space, it's so typical now of the direction that Ottawa in general is moving towards with regards to all the wonderful companies that is just in here and making things happen on a global scale, and just the innovative approach towards making your staff, making the environment where your staff works more encouraging, more comfortable. Maybe you can speak a little bit towards, you've been involved maybe in a few moves for Nelligan, and how does this one maybe? As I said that, I was like, I should be careful what I'm saying, right? Exactly. So if you don't know it, Peter just turned 39, and so he's been a lawyer since he's got out of the womb. But Peter, maybe you can share how is that different maybe now than before?
Yeah, I mean, I have been practicing for 38 years, so we have done a number of moves over my career. I've only been with Nelligan O'Brien Payne, with Nelligan Power, Nelligan O'Brien Payne for my whole career. And every time you do a move, there is, a certain amount of energy that comes from going into a new premise and having a new office and all of that. I will say though that this move is different. I can't put my finger on it, although I think Craig kind of touched on it. The energy level, the enthusiasm is carrying on more than just the fact that you're in a new spot. There's I think perhaps that sense of a more, not so much us and them as all of us in this together attitude, and the premises facilitates this joint collaborative effort that we're all involved in. And you're right, when you have an office that has glass on it. Now we do have some film for some privacy, but nonetheless, the reality of it is that when you had the walls that Craig described and the solid doors, you never knew what was going on. But now you can see people in there, and we'll interrupt each other a lot more readily than we might have otherwise. The door's closed. So what? I'm going to go in. Oh yeah, Craig's in there. I'm going to go talk. Just the person I wanted to see. You're both there.
Yes.
And so it's just permitted a lot more informality. And look, our firm has always had an air of informality. It's a very relaxed atmosphere, and I just think this is finally a structure that permits us to truly be what we want to be. So I'm quite surprised at how much of an effect it has had on everyone, all the lawyers and the staff. It's just been very, very positive. Yeah.
And so maybe I'll pose one more question, and Craig, maybe you can share with us a little bit. Um, Nelligan O'Brien Payne, a law firm. You walk in here today and you're like, wow. You don't. The first thing that comes to mind, you don't think law firm per se. You think, wow, this is such an inviting. Not that that's not being coming to a law firm is not inviting, but I mean, you're definitely have changed kind of the perception and look and feel when you come in here that it's not your average law firm. And we already know Nelligan O'Brien is not your average law firm. We already know that. But maybe you can speak to that a little bit, how important that is now more than ever for companies, especially in the law industry, to change this environment, this look, this feel, this approach when you come and see a law firm. How important it's not just for your staff, but how important it is for your clients.
Well, I frankly think it's hugely important to our clients, and it's long overdue as a general industry. I'm ecstatic that Nelligan O'Brien Payne can be at least regionally at the forefront of this change. You know, I grew up with family in the legal industry, and of course my father's always been very approachable, and from a firm that has always invited this. There's a certain element within the legal industry of prestige being associated with being somewhat difficult, and to have clients coming into an office feeling nervous about being articulate enough to communicate properly with their own legal counsel is something that has been it's a problem for lawyers. And it's a problem that usually is caused by the lawyer actually having a little less confidence than they should in what they're doing and what they're advising and how they're dealing with clients. And we've always had the appropriate level of confidence where it's not hubris. We're not going out, but the clientele that Nelligan O'Brien Payne has and also aspires to have are those people who are temporarily in some legal difficulties, either another side's not doing what they should, or conversely, they might have made an error, or somebody's saying they made an error. Our role and our job is to get down to brass tacks, to talk them through factually and legally what they're involved in and what the likely outcomes are. The very sense that somebody might be nervous in the way that they express themselves to me is a huge problem, and it's something that needs to be overcome. And the old, kind of the stodgy office space leads to that type of relationship with your own clients. That's not what we've ever wanted. And again, the space is fostering a more easy way of clients dealing with us. Certainly a lot more comfortable, and it's not to say that that our actual approach or the way we actually dealt with it is any different. It's just when you have somebody coming in and feeling like they're in an ivory tower dealing with some intellectual stooge is a problem. We don't want to be that guy. We've never wanted to be that guy. And again, now our physical area is also helping the relationships with our clients, the relationships amongst the professionals who work here. And it's certainly a very welcoming context when we're having mediations or meeting with opposing parties and everything. So just as an overall, it's been a fantastic move for the space, for the team, for the clients, and hopefully it'll be contagious within the industry.
Well, Peter and Craig, thank you very much for sharing all your insight. I mean, as I said, congratulations firstly for making this. I'm glad that it's interesting because it was, once again, this law firm is always looking for ways to improve themselves, always step things up to the next level, not just for their staff, but for their clients as well. And I think this space here is such a clear indication of how you are moving forward and what's lying ahead for Nelligan O'Brien Payne. This is almost just the beginning. Although you have quite the history, this is just the beginning of a new chapter for this amazing company. So thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you for coming today.
Absolutely. And so thank you for joining us today. Make sure, if you haven't done so already, come and visit and come and see these amazing individuals. And congratulations on this amazing space.